Hello, it's Iino. This time, I would like to broadcast you logistics news in August 2023. I will explain about the latest news from North America and the shipping market. So, let's get started. Ocean freight rates for North American routes increase for all companies. Container freight prices to North America have increased for the second week in a row. According to early August information, the price of cargoes from Shanghai to the west coast of North America is $2,002 per 40 feet, while those to the east coast are over $3,000 per 40 feet, and are rising across the board. One of the reasons cited is that shipping companies have stopped transporting container ships on unprofitable routes and have adjusted their shipping capacity. While other companies are moving to raise prices, MSC has announced that it will lower its prices by about $200 per 40 feet. This move suggests that MSC's strategy is focused on attracting cargo. In fact, MSC is focused on expanding its fleet and is the world's #1 shipping company by container volume. Meanwhile, Maersk and CMA CGM are moving to raise prices. Maersk and MSC currently have a 2M alliance, which will be dissolved at the end of January 2025. Maersk is currently steering toward total logistics as its integrator strategy, and through this strategy, the company intends to cut costs in the future. It will be interesting to see how the different moves of two major shipping companies, Maersk, which is committed to cutting costs through total logistics, and MSC, which focused on container ships, will affect the market in the future. It will be necessary to pay attention to trends in the logistics industry and adapt to changes. Trade between North America and Mexico, $1 trillion. Expansion of nearshore strategy by 2028. The value of shipments between the U.S. and Mexico is reportedly expected to exceed $1 trillion by 2028. Due to corona pandemic, supply chain disrupted in the North America, and reduced reliance on imports from China. In addition, trade friction between the U.S. and China has led to a nearshore strategy, where companies are moving their production bases closer together. Mexico is therefore emerging as a production base. In 2022, the value of U.S.-China transportation transactions was $690 billion. Also, $779 billion for U.S.-Mexico, which you can see that U.S. import partners are shifting from China, which held the top spot for many years, to Mexico. In terms of the number of trucks transporting goods from Mexico to the U.S. at a given border, the number has jumped from 23 trucks per day in the past to 200 trucks today. This shows that trade between Mexico and the U.S. is increasing, and the value of transportation is growing. The trend of declining U.S. and Chinese shipments and increasing Mexican shipments may continue. This could lead to an increase in the number of companies looking to expand into Mexico, and could have a major impact on supply chain restructuring. It will be interesting to see how new transportation patterns will be formed, and what will happen to the cash cow routes from Shanghai to North America. Major North American trucking company, Yellow collapses. Conflict with labor unions affected. Yellow, a large U.S. trucking company, suddenly ceased operations, and subsequently reportedly went bankrupt. The company had been in the trucking business in the U.S. for nearly 100 years, working with major companies such as Walmart, Home Depot, and Amazon. It adopted a low-cost strategy, and price competition was squeezing profits. 3 years ago, the U.S. government provided a $700 million loan, but management did not improve and the funds were exhausted. In addition to it, conflicts with the labor union-led reportedly escalated, affecting management. The company employed approximately 22,000 unionized and 8,000 non-unionized workers, but the struggle by union members continued, resulting in the loss of 30,000 union and non-union jobs. It also commented that it had been quite exhausted in negotiating wage increases with the union side, and in fact, the wage increases had put pressure on management. While the existence of labor unions to protect workers from companies is certainly important, it would be a disaster if companies were to go under due to their insistence. This news reminds us of the difficulty of low-cost management, and it is also possible that Yellow's bankruptcy due to this wage increase will have some impact on the management strategies of other companies in the future. Kuehne and Nagel cut costs due to lack of supply and demand for 2023 peak season. Kuehne and Nagel has announced plans to reduce costs. With demand unlikely to recover, it has been suggested that peak season surcharges may not increase as much as usual. Usually, there is an increase in demand before China's National Day and a peak season surcharge is introduced for cargoes to North America. Due to increased cargo demand, including the impact of corona pandemic, and demand for staying at home, companies have shipped a large volume of cargo. In addition, the lack of demand recovery during last year's peak season has resulted in the current situation of residual inventory. Demand is unlikely to recover this year, suggesting that the U.S. Fed's higher interest rates and consumer spending restraints are having an impact. No specific details have been announced about this cost-cutting at Kuehne and Nagel. While it is believed that demand will be difficult to recover, some companies believe that the situation is not as bad as it seems. I will continue to monitor market conditions and developments at Kuehne and Nagel closely. Panama Canal restricted due to lack of water, resulting offshore waiting vessels for 18 days. Water levels in the Panama Canal have dropped, causing an offshore queue and restricting navigation. The Panama Canal is an important canal connecting North and South America and is used by ships to operate to the Gulf Coast and the eastern coast of North America. Due to the lack of water in Lake Gatun, water levels in the Panama Canal have dropped, causing restrictions on heavy vessels. Some vessels are reportedly waiting offshore for up to 18 days, and container ships and conventional shipping lines are beginning to be affected. Some shipping companies have set a weight limit of up to 15 tons for 40-feet containers, which used to carry 20 to 22 tons. The corona pandemic caused a large number of vessels to wait offshore on the west coast of North America, which had a major impact on the supply chain. However, at this point there has been no impact from the Panama Canal waiting offshore. However, some are reporting that GRI and peak season surcharges may be affected to fares to North America. Due to the low prospects for demand recovery, including a cooling economy in China and inflation in the US, it is believed that the impact is low, as it was around the time of Corona. I will continue to update you on the status of water levels. How was this news? Due to the cooling economy, demand for cargo is not expected to recover during this year. There are many issues that may affect the market in the future, such as strategies of major shipping companies, nearshore strategies of companies, and restrictions on the operation of the Panama Canal. I will continue to update you with information. That's all for this issue. Thank you very much.
In this channel, I explain about international logistics knowledge for your better understanding. I hope this video will be a good support for your logistics job. If you have any shipment from Thailand or to Thailand, please feel free to contact me Iino-san anytime. Also, I'm very motivated to keep updating these videos. If you subscribe, press good or comment anything. Well, thank you. See you next time.